What if the person who makes you feel the safest is also the one who confuses your heart the most? This story isn't what you think it is. It's not just about friendship. It's about the quiet moments, the small gestures, the things we notice but aren't sure we're allowed to feel. It's about a bond so deep that one touch could flip everything you thought you understood about someone, and yourself. In today's video, we're diving into a personal journey, one that starts with laughter and comfort, and slowly drifts into the unknown. It's the kind of story that makes you question how well we really know the people closest to us. What does it mean when someone who says they're straight keeps giving signals that feel anything but? Was it all in the narrator's head, or was there something real hiding between the lines? You'll hear how it all started, how two people built something rare and intimate, and how a single, seemingly innocent touch became the crack that changed everything. This isn't just a story, it's a look at those hidden spaces between friendship and something more. If you've ever wondered about unspoken feelings, blurred lines, or those moments that hang in the air long after they've passed, this one's for you. Stick around till the end, because what begins as simple connection grows into something deeply emotional, full of tension, and impossible to forget. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy true stories with twists, emotions, and a bit of mystery, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's more where this came from, and you won't want to miss it. I met Liam during my second year at university. It wasn't some dramatic meeting or anything, just one of those casual introductions through a mutual friend at a party. He had that kind of energy that draws people in without trying too hard. Confident, funny, effortlessly cool. Within minutes, we were cracking jokes like we'd known each other for years. At first, it was just friendly. We had similar taste in music, both loved old video games, and somehow ended up watching the same weird documentaries. One time, we stayed up until 3 a.m. debating which movie deserved Best Picture, and ended up watching two more just to prove our points. That's how it was with Liam. Easy, comfortable, no pressure, no pretending. And he was clear about who he was. Liam had dated girls all his life. He talked about them in the way straight guys usually do, half proud, half confused by them. I never read into anything. I wasn't looking for signs. He was straight, that was that, but the more time we spent together, the closer we got. Not just in the usual way friends get close. There was an unspoken understanding between us. I didn't have to explain myself with him. I could just be. We started hanging out more often, late night drives, lazy Sundays, video calls that lasted hours without saying anything important. Somehow, he made silence feel full instead of awkward. He opened up in ways I didn't expect. He'd tell me about his fears, the pressure he felt to live a certain kind of life. He once told me, "You're the only person I can really talk to about this stuff." And I believed him. Still, I never crossed any lines. I never told him about the way I sometimes found myself watching him too long, or the way his laugh made something in my chest tighten. I knew better. Or at least, I thought I did. Then one evening, we were sitting on the couch at his place. He was telling me a story, something about a girl who misunderstood his text and thought he was asking her out when he wasn't. It was hilarious, and I was laughing hard. Without thinking, he reached out and placed his hand on my shoulder. Just a quick touch, but it stayed. Not in a weird way. Not for too long, but long enough to make my skin notice. Long enough to make my mind spiral just a little. He kept talking, like nothing happened. Like it was totally normal. And maybe it was. Maybe I was reading into it. But later that night, lying in my bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. About how natural it felt. About the way he looked at me when he did it. I told myself not to overthink it. Friends touch. Friends laugh and lean on each other. It didn't mean anything. Still, that touch stuck in my mind way longer than it should have. It was a Friday night, and we'd decided to go out for drinks after a rough week. Nothing serious, just a couple beers, some laughs, maybe a few bad karaoke performances if the night got wild enough. It started out like it always did. We were joking around, teasing each other, slipping into that familiar rhythm we had. But as the drinks kept coming, the energy started to shift. Not in an obvious way. Just, softer, slower, closer. We ended up at this little bar downtown. It wasn't loud, which was perfect. Liam started talking more seriously after his second drink. He leaned on the table, eyes a little glassy but sharp in that way that only shows when someone drops their guard. He told me about his last breakup. Said he never really felt understood. Not by her, not by most people. Then he looked at me, quiet for a second, and said, "But with you, I don't have to explain myself." I didn't know what to say to that. I just nodded, trying to keep my heart from reacting. There was something in the way he said it. Something deeper. Something that felt different. Later, we stepped outside to get some air. The street was almost empty. The breeze helped sober us up a bit. We didn't say much, just stood there for a while. Then, without a word, Liam reached out and took my hand. It was gentle, calm. There was no joke behind it, no smirk on his face. Just silence. I didn't pull away. For a moment, we just stood like that. Two friends, two people, standing under a streetlight, holding hands. And the world didn't spin. It just paused, like everything knew something had changed. Then, just as suddenly, he let go. Looked up at the sky. "Man, it's cold," he said, like nothing happened. We walked back to his car and drove home in silence. Not an uncomfortable silence, just full of something neither of us could name. I couldn't sleep that night. That feeling of his hand in mine, it wouldn't leave me alone. Was it the alcohol? Was it just a moment of weakness? Or had he been holding that inside too? The next day, we didn't talk about it. Not a word. It was as if it never happened. But everything had changed. At least for me. I started noticing the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't paying attention. The way his shoulder would brush mine and stay just a second longer than necessary. The way he'd laugh and glance away like he was trying to hide something. Or maybe I was imagining it all. Still, I couldn't stop thinking about that night. About how natural his hand felt in mine. About how much I wanted that moment to mean something. Something real. But he never brought it up. Never hinted at it again. And I didn't have the courage to ask. All I knew was that one quiet, wordless moment had shifted everything I thought I knew about him, and maybe about myself. Things went back to normal. At least, that's how it looked on the surface. We still hung out, still laughed at the same stupid memes, still watched movies on weekends. But under all that comfort, something had changed. I saw everything differently now. Every touch, every look, every long pause felt like it might mean more than it used to. And it was driving me crazy. For a few days, Liam pulled back a little. Not in a cold or obvious way, just more distant. Shorter texts, delayed replies. When we finally met up again, I asked if everything was okay. He smiled and said, "Yeah, just been tired. Needed some space." I nodded, but I didn't believe him. I could feel the tension in the way he spoke. Like there was something he wanted to say but couldn't. A week later, we went for a hike. It was his idea. A new trail, quiet and tucked away just outside the city. It was the perfect kind of day. Bright but cool, with the kind of silence that feels peaceful instead of awkward. We didn't talk much at first. Just walked, side by side, in step. Like always. At the top of the trail, we sat on a flat rock overlooking the trees. The view was unreal. Liam was quiet for a long time, then said, "You ever feel like no one really sees you?" I didn't answer right away. I knew he wasn't looking for a quick reply. I looked at him, waiting for more. He kept his eyes on the horizon. "I don't know. With you, it's just different. Like, I don't have to explain what I mean. You just get it." I felt my throat tighten. I wanted to tell him I felt the same way. That he made me feel safe. Seen. But I was too afraid. I didn't want to ruin what we had. Whatever it was. Then he laughed, softly, not loud like usual, and reached out, brushing his hand across the back of my neck. Just once, slow and familiar. My skin tingled where he touched me. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just sat there, caught in that one small, quiet gesture. He didn't say anything else. We just sat there for a while, listening to the wind. Later, as we made our way back down the trail, the silence between us was thick. Not heavy, but charged. Like both of us were waiting for the other to say something first. As we got to the bottom, Liam stopped and looked at me. His eyes were serious. "I don't know what I'd do without you." I tried to smile, but I think it came out all wrong. I was caught between hope and confusion. He didn't explain what he meant. He didn't need to. The way he said it, that mattered more than the words. That night, I lay awake again, replaying everything. The hand on my neck. The way his voice softened when he talked to me. The look in his eyes when he thought I wasn't watching. There was something there. I could feel it. I just didn't know what he wanted me to do with it. Part of me wondered if I was making it all up. Seeing what I wanted to see. But another part, deeper, quieter, and harder to ignore, was sure of it. He knew what he was doing. And for whatever reason, he wasn't ready to say it out loud. Not yet. I couldn't take it anymore. The silence. The touches. The endless guessing. Every time I thought I was reading too much into things, he'd do something else that pulled me right back in. And every time I convinced myself it meant something, he'd act like it was nothing. I was caught in between, feeling too much and saying too little. So I stopped. I stopped texting him first. I stopped saying yes every time he wanted to hang out. I told myself I needed space, that it was for my own good. Maybe if I pulled away, I'd get some clarity. Maybe the feelings would fade. He noticed. It didn't even take a week. One night, he called me out of nowhere. I let it ring. He texted after. "Hey, is something wrong?" Asterisk. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. "I think we need to talk." Asterisk. He invited me over that same night. The moment I stepped into his apartment, I felt it, the weight between us. He tried to act normal, offered me a drink, joked about a movie we used to love. But I wasn't laughing this time. I sat down, took a breath, and said, "I don't know what's happening between us, but it's messing with my head." His smile dropped. He didn't look surprised. Just quiet. I care about you, I said, trying to hold my voice steady. But the things you do, the way you touch me, the things you say, sometimes it feels like more than friendship. And I'm tired of pretending it doesn't. He didn't speak right away. He looked down at his hands like he was searching for the right words. Then, softly, he said, I never meant to hurt you. I waited. He looked up. But I've felt something too. I don't know what it means. I've never felt this way before. My heart was pounding. Part of me was relieved just to hear it. Another part wanted to scream, then why did you keep pretending it was nothing? Asterisk. Instead, I asked, so what now? He stood up, paced the room once, then turned back to me. I think about you all the time. More than I should. And yeah, sometimes I want to be close to you in ways I've never wanted with anyone else. But I'm scared. I've never had these feelings before. I don't even know what they are. His voice cracked a little, and that's when I realized, he was just as confused as I was. All this time, I thought he had the power, the answers, the control. But he was standing there, breaking apart in front of me, just as lost. I don't want to lose you, he said. But I don't want to lie to myself either. For a second, I couldn't breathe. Then I got up and walked over to him. We didn't say anything. I just pulled him into a hug. He held on tight, like he was afraid I'd disappear. That hug lasted longer than any words could. It was quiet, warm, sad, honest. No one said anything after that. I left a little while later, both of us unsure of what we were walking toward, but finally done pretending it was nothing. I didn't sleep that night either. But for the first time, it wasn't confusion keeping me up. It was the weight of something real. Maybe too real. The days that followed were quieter than I expected. We didn't talk much, but there was no tension. Just space. We both needed it. That night had shifted something between us, finally pulled the truth out into the open. And once it was out, there was no putting it back. I kept thinking about his words. I don't know what these feelings are. And I understood. It wasn't simple. Not for him. Maybe not for me either. But the thing was, even in his confusion, he was honest. He didn't deny it anymore. He didn't pretend. That meant something. A week later, he showed up at my door. He didn't text first. Didn't call. Just knocked. I opened the door and saw him standing there, hands in his pockets, that nervous energy I'd only seen a few times before. He looked up at me and said, "Can we talk?" I let him in. We sat down on the couch, the same one where it all started. Same distance between us. Same quiet air. But this time, it didn't feel uncertain. It felt real. I've been thinking a lot, he began. And I still don't have it all figured out. But I know I don't want to run from it anymore. I didn't speak. I let him keep going. I've never looked at another guy the way I look at you, he said, his voice steady. And yeah, maybe that scares me. But what scares me more is losing you. Or pretending like I don't care when I do. My throat tightened again. I looked at him and said, you don't have to have all the answers right now. I just need you to be honest. That's all I've ever wanted. He nodded. I am now. Then he reached out, slower than before, and took my hand. Not like the last time. This wasn't a question. It was an answer. We sat like that for a long time. No big declarations. No promises. Just silence. Peaceful, finally. From that day on, we moved differently. Carefully, but openly. We still laughed, still argued over music and movies, still teased each other like before, but underneath it all, there was something new. Something honest. Something that didn't need to be defined right away. He wasn't ready to label what we were. And maybe I wasn't either. But he stopped pulling away. He stopped hiding. And I stopped feeling like I was imagining things. There were moments, quiet, private moments, where he'd rest his head on my shoulder or brush his fingers against mine without fear. He started to trust himself. And in that trust, he gave me something I'd been waiting for since the beginning, clarity. We weren't just friends pretending not to feel anything. We were something else. Maybe something still undefined. Maybe something just beginning. But it was real. It was ours. And whatever came next, I knew one thing for sure. His touch didn't lie. It never did. Some stories don't end with clear labels or perfect answers. Sometimes, they end with honesty. With two people choosing to stop pretending and start facing the truth, no matter how messy or uncertain it feels. What happened between us wasn't sudden. It built slowly, in quiet moments and small touches. In the laughter, the late-night talks, the hesitations, and the looks that lasted just a little too long. And in the end, it wasn't about a label. It was about connection, trust, the courage to be vulnerable, even when it scares you. Not every straight guy is hiding something. But sometimes, people don't know what they feel until someone helps them see it. Until someone makes them feel safe enough to stop running. If this story made you think, made you feel something, or maybe even reminded you of your own unspoken moments, then this space is for you. You're not alone. These stories matter, and they deserve to be heard. If you've enjoyed this journey, please give the video a like. It helps us tell more stories that often go untold. Subscribe to the channel for more emotional, real-life stories like this one. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and for letting this story unfold with you. Until next time, stay honest, stay kind, and stay open to the unexpected.